Patriots fans, this is the kind of off-season stretch that gets your blood pumping. Because when you stop looking at these moves like separate little headlines and start looking at the full picture, it feels like Foxborough might be building something with real teeth again. And that is what should have this fan base locked in right now. We are not just talking about random roster churn. We are talking about signals. We are talking about a team that may finally be choosing an identity instead of drifting without one. So if you still believe New England can punch back, hit like, jump in the comments and tell me right now, are the Patriots quietly getting tougher than people realize? Let's start with the move a lot of people will dismiss too quickly. Kindle Vildor. On the surface, that is not the kind of name that makes the whole league stop and stare. He is not coming in to take Christian Gonzalez's spot. He is not pushing Carlton Davis off the boundary. He is not replacing Marcus Jones in the slot. That is not the point. The point is what this kind of move says about what Mike Vrabel wants this defense to become. Because Vildor is not just another corner added for camp competition. He is another player with familiarity, another defender who has lived in the kind of structure Vrabel believes in, another piece that can help speed up communication and execution. That matters. It matters more than casual fans want to admit. When a coach starts surrounding his roster with players who already understand the language, the tempo, the expectations, that is usually a sign he does not want to spend half the year teaching basics. That is a sign he wants this defense operating fast. And if you are a Patriots fan, that should absolutely get your attention. This is how serious teams build, not just with stars, but with layers. Not just with splash, but with trust. Not just with starters, but with depth pieces who can step in without everything falling apart. Vildor has been around, contributed on defense, worked on special teams, and shown he can be part of a rotation when needed. Nobody is saying he is about to become some hidden superstar. That would be forcing it. But can he help stabilize the room, raise the competition level, and give New England more reliable depth in a long season? Absolutely. And honestly, that is one of the biggest things this fan base has been starving for. Less patchwork, less panic, less crossing your fingers and hoping a backup can survive. More structure, more planning, more signs that the roster is being built on purpose. So no, this move may not explode across the internet, but it does suggest something important. It suggests the Patriots are thinking like a team that wants its identity to show up every single week. Then the conversation gets even more interesting when you shift inside and look at the possibility of the Patriots monitoring Christian Wilkins. Now we are talking about a name that instantly changes the temperature. Nothing is done. Nothing is official. Nothing should be exaggerated. But this is exactly the kind of opportunity smart teams at least study carefully. Here is the fact layer. Christian Wilkins is trying to return for the 2026 season while still rehabbing a foot injury. Adam Schefter reported that multiple teams have already checked in and are waiting for Wilkins to be ready. That alone tells you this is not some random flyer. The league is watching Christian Wilkins, so the Patriots should be watching too. Now here is where the New England angle becomes fascinating. The Patriots are not in a spot where they have to move out of desperation. That changes everything. When a team is desperate, it reaches, it overspends, it convinces itself every risk is worth taking because it has no choice. But when a team already has real bodies in the interior rotation, it can think clearly. It can ask the right questions. What does the medical picture really look like for Christian Wilkins? What would the contract need to be? Is this a short-term prove-it swing with real upside? Is this a chance to add disruptive talent without losing financial flexibility? That is how smart teams hunt value. And Patriots fans should love that idea, because for too long this team has felt stuck in the middle, not stable enough to scare anyone, not explosive enough to shift the balance, not complete enough to trust. So when a potential high upside move appears, especially one involving Christian Wilkins in the middle of the defense, you have to at least consider it. You have to do the homework. You have to ask whether this could be the kind of move that looks risky in the moment and brilliant later. Of course there is risk. The injury matters. The uncertainty matters. There has also been outside noise tied to Christian Wilkins' previous stop, and because the public details are incomplete, nobody should pretend they know the whole story. That is important. We are not turning rumors into facts, but any serious organization would dig into every part of that evaluation before making a move. And if the Patriots are really trying to rebuild this defense with discipline and intelligence, that is exactly how they would handle it. Still, you can absolutely see why this would get fans buzzing. Christian Wilkins is a talented interior defender trying to restart his career. The Patriots are trying to get meaner, deeper, and harder to move. The possibility of a short-term value play with major upside is right there on the table. That is the kind of swing that tells you a team might believe it is closer than the outside world thinks. Then you look at the draft, and this whole picture starts to feel even more coherent. One projected path had New England linked to Arizona State offensive tackle potential Max Ihanacher with the 31st pick, and you can already hear the debate from every corner of the fan base. An offensive tackle? Really? What about another defensive playmaker? What about instant impact? What about more juice somewhere else? And that reaction is exactly why this matters so much, because the emotional reaction says one thing, but the football logic may say something very different. The reported logic behind that projection is simple. The Patriots' pass protection issues have been visible, and even if the team believes players already on the roster can improve, protecting the quarterback is still a major issue. That is not glamorous. It is not the sexy answer, but football still gets one up front. Always has, always will. That is where this possible draft direction starts making real sense. Ihanacher has been described as a player with size, movement, and upside, but also as someone who may still need development. So no, this would not necessarily be the cleanest plug-and-play pick on day one. It could be a ceiling bet, a long-view bet. And for some fans, that can be frustrating. First-round picks come with pressure. People want fireworks. People want the instant answer. But sometimes the smartest first-round pick is not the loudest one. Sometimes it is the one that protects the structure of the team for the next several years. And if that is what New England is thinking, then this would fit the larger pattern almost perfectly. Look at the common thread through all of this. Familiarity on defense, better depth in the secondary, openness to a value opportunity with Christian Wilkins inside, serious attention to tackle and pass protection. What ties those ideas together? Physicality, structure, foundation, trench football, sustainability. This does not feel like a team hunting shortcuts. It feels like a team trying to become difficult to play against again. And that should matter to every Patriots fan who is sick of hearing that New England is just wandering through the post-dynasty years with no real plan. Maybe Foxborough is finally showing one. Now, let's be clear. This does not mean the roster is finished. It does not mean every move will work. It does not mean fans should act like the Patriots are suddenly back on top of the conference. There is still a lot to prove. The secondary has to hold up. Any move for Christian Wilkins would still need to be justified medically and financially. A young tackle would still need development and coaching. None of this is a guarantee. But that is not really the point. The point is direction. Fans can live with a process when they see logic. Fans can stay patient when they believe there is an actual blueprint. What drives a fan base crazy is randomness. It is when every move feels disconnected. It is when every week feels like the team is throwing darts in the dark. Right now, for the first time in a while, the Patriots are at least giving people a reason to believe there is a football thesis behind what they are doing. The Vildor move says this staff values familiarity, communication, and competition. The Christian Wilkins possibility says the front office may be willing to chase upside if the price and health make sense. The draft projection says they understand that if you cannot protect the quarterback and win in the trenches, you are building on sand. Put that all together, and suddenly this does not look like a team making random offseason transactions. It looks like a team trying to restore identity. And that is the word that keeps coming back. Identity. For years, the Patriots had one. Tough, smart, disciplined, annoying to play against. Built for ugly football if that is what the game demanded. Built to wear you down. Built to make opponents miserable for 4 quarters. That identity disappeared. Everybody saw it. Everybody felt it. So now the question is whether these moves, these projections, and these little roster clues are the first signs that identity is finally coming back. And if they are, this matters way more than outsiders think, because teams do not always announce their return with one giant move. Sometimes it starts with quieter clues, a depth piece that fits the scheme, a market opportunity worth monitoring, a draft projection that screams trench football instead of hype. Little signs, small hints, a pattern forming. Then one day you look up and realize the whole thing actually makes sense. That might be what is happening in New England right now. So, I want to hear from you. Are you seeing the same thing? Do you feel like the Patriots are finally building with purpose again? Does this offseason make you more confident in where this team is headed? Or do you still need one bigger move before you buy in? Drop your take in the comments, share this with another Pats fan, and subscribe if you want more reactions with real football context, because we are not just tracking headlines here. We are tracking whether the next version of the Patriots is finally starting to come into focus. And if that is what this is, if these are not isolated stories but early pieces of a bigger plan, then 2026 may be about a lot more than simple improvement. It may be about New England becoming New England again, tougher, sharper, more intentional, more dangerous. And if that is where this is going, the next move out of Foxborough might hit a whole lot harder than the rest of the league expects.